So, we did an episode last week, but it came out sounding like this.
So overexcited because I sound...
Like a brown Wurzel.
I sound West Country.
Well, I said it now. It's like a brown Wurzel, let's face it.
Yeah, not the best.
It's not up to our usual high standards, so we decided to just leave it a week and then come back and try again. So what have we got done?
Well, first up, of course, blackface matters.
As always, a woman in Glasgow has decided to go to a Prince tribute night where she went dressed up as the Great Purple One himself, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yep.
Blacked up and all.
Yeah.
The organisers threatened to remove her after people were complaining about the outfit, accusing her of being racist. She politely removed the face paint, but said she wasn't racist and that the outfit hadn't drawn any complaints at a previous outing, which means she's once before.
Yeah.
Blackface and all.
So, okay, well...
That's
whatever.
just inappropriate.
Yeah.
Is this racist? I mean, I say yes, because,
Well, she's quoted as saying, it was just taken the wrong way, and that her night was ruined, because all she wanted to do was go out and have a good time, and now she's...
ruined?
And no, I was...
Racist.
When I went out, I was got called a racist, oh no. Well, yeah, but...
You can dress as Prince and not put black...
Who is it that says ignorance isn't an excuse?
I don't know, but it's very smart. I'm ignorant to who it was. They're very smart. The head of a £12,700 a term school says private pupils are being discriminated against like Jews in Nazi Germany.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this head teacher, Dr. Wollersteiner, which sounds pretty German to me.
But I was pretty sure he's also Jewish.
Oh dear.
Pretty sure.
Let's try this again. So this head teacher, Dr. Wollersteiner, thinks that all this talk about how rich, privately educated kids are snatching up all the jobs is like how Hitler used to talk about Jews being everywhere and how that was a bad thing. Or as he put it, the rise of populists and polemicists has created a micro-industry in bashing private schools.
So he's blaming populists and polemicists for the perceived problems.
Yeah, that's a lot like
Yeah.
blaming...
Needless to say, the campaign against anti-Semitism has responded by saying tasteless Holocaust analogies do not belong in the debate about education in this country.
And the absolute best response came from Labour MP David Lammy, master of the cutting remark, actually. Can somebody please fetch Dr. Wollersteiner the world's tiniest violin? 7% of all UK pupils attend private schools, but they get 42% of Oxbridge places. There is social engineering going on here, but it's not benefiting state school kids.
Yeah. On the other side of the lock of the pot drawer cut thing...
What are you saying?
Right. A diner in Manchester was accidentally given a £4,500 bottle of wine.
Beautiful.
So this restaurant in Manchester, Hawksmoor Restaurant, tweeted out to the customer who accidentally got given a bottle of Chateau Le Pin-Pomerol 2001, which is a £4,500 on our menu last night. Hope you enjoyed your evening. To the member of staff who accidentally gave it away, chin up. One-off mistakes happen, and we love you anyway. There's just an undercurrent, but there's an undercurrent of don't do that again.
I know, that's just like, yeah. I bet they really got fired.
Probably. Well, so these guests actually just ordered a bottle of the Chateau Pichon Longueville Comtesse de la Lande.
That's the language of love.
That is exactly it, which was only worth about £260.
Which is still more than I can imagine spending on a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this was some down their luck, but very obviously lucky people getting like a
That's a seriously expensive bottle of wine still for me, which says a lot about how much I own. But also, fucking £4,500 for a bottle of wine
is...
Why would you wouldn't even want to drink it, would you?
No, it's one of those things, you keep it as a display piece. Anyway, the co-founder, Will Beckett, said the couple who ordered the bottle of wine have not actually been found. They don't know which lucky couple it was. But he said the manager who made this mistake is obviously mortified. I'm fairly sure she's not going to do it again. Watch your back, love. You're on thin ice.
You're in trouble. Meanwhile, a 1,800-year-old penis carving found etched into Hadrian's Wall in England. Beautiful. As EnglishHeritage.org.uk puts it, why did you put it like that?
That's where it's from.
As English Heritage puts
Cite
it...
your sources.
Yeah, but that is a source. They'll find that. I'll just say it. As EnglishHeritage.org.uk puts it, Hadrian's Wall was built to guard the wild northwest frontier of the Roman Empire. It's like the Great Wall of China in England, or the one in Game of Thrones, And like every other wall in England, it gets a cock drawn on it.
Except, unlike now, where it's more a symbol of the persistent immaturity of man, to the Romans, the image of the penis was a symbol of good luck.
Because of course it was.
Yeah. Staying with that's old, dead, and thankfully not relevant anymore, a woman in Chesterfield, Virginia's dying wish was carried out by the executor of her will. Her last wish was that her faithful Shih Tzu mixed doggo companion would be euthanized and cremated alongside her, so that's fucking great.
I fucking hate dog people. I really do. I feel sick when I see people that like let their dog lick their face.
Whatever, it's what they do. But
then going and killing your dog.
Yeah, but also like, well, I want them to come with me. The dog, by the way, was perfectly healthy. The thing specified, perfectly healthy dog.
So cruel, isn't it?
It's I can't remember who it was, but the other people in this argument were saying like, no, the dog's perfectly fine. We can absolutely rehome them. The executor was like, yeah, but the will says, dead dog, please.
Kill the dog. That's just heartless. What can you say about people? Trying to tell the world, everyone has been getting Shinzo Abe's name wrong 13 years since he first became Prime Minister. Now, I did have to just get briefed on the pronunciation, and I'm pretty sure I still butchered it.
You still got it a little bit right. So, this is pretty amusing because the headline, we took this from, I think, The Independent, the headline specifies his name as Shinzo Abe, and then in the first paragraph of the article, it says his correct name is Abe Shinzo. Due to the naming conventions in East Asia, you'd think they'd want to get it right the first time, lest they run into an Ensign Rowe situation.
Like Star Trek.
Yes, Ensign Laren, please sit down.
Ensign Rowe, sir.
I beg your pardon.
The Bajoran custom has the family name first, the individual's name second. I am properly addressed as Ensign Rowe.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No, there's no reason you should. It's an old custom. Most Bajor these days accept the distortion of their names in order to assimilate. I do not.
Ooh.
Ooh!
Shinzo Abe isn't around. I like the idea we might already be facing 24th century problems in 2019.
Yeah, and we are simply not prepared. That another country has different naming conventions is newsworthy, seems a little wrong to me.
It's that kind of like, that ignorance of just being like, oh, no, but we run the world, right?
Yeah, like, that's a little different. That's strange.
Yeah,
that's
excuse me?
Weird.
That's very unusual, isn't it? To have your name run the other way, that's a bit weird.
Weird,
Yeah, God, we are a joke, aren't we?
The thing is, this isn't, from what I read, this isn't even the first time that the Japanese government have said, no, we don't do it like. And the rest of us gone, oh, okay, alright, well, that's cute.
It's Abe. For years, and we've all just been like, of course it is. What is he talking about? Speaking of politicians saying and also doing things, the new mayor of a city in Texas has died immediately after being declared the victor in their local election. Despite claiming most of the votes, Mr. Philip Veltman sort of died of a leukemia, and now the town of Maypole needs to figure out its next step. Now this is weird, right? Because like...
Yeah, so this has never happened before.
No.
That bit is like, oh, really? Really? In the history of... in the history of bloody Maypole in, Texas, this hasn't happened before. They've had to go to their, the Texan government and be like, yo,
what do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
Because...
we spent so much money on an election.
Yeah, and then this guy goes and dies, the inconsiderate
Did he run on a kind of, I will die...
I mean,
in office platform
is leukemia one of those things where it happens suddenly and you're like, oh no,
I don't think so.
I've got leukemia.
I don't think you could just be like, I've got severe... Well, I don't know. That is fucking weird, though. I mean, I can't imagine all these posters where it's like, Philip Hellman, I'm not ill.
You got posthumously elected.
Vote Veltman. A school in France has found a novel way of avoiding closure when its pupil numbers dropped recently by enrolling 15 sheep into the school. These 15 sheep with names like Barbette and other silly sheep puns were signed up with birth certificates, with the local mayor officially recognising the education of the sheep.
Yeah, if this seems at all absurd to you, a parent talking to the paper Le Parisien explained it quite simply.
Pronunciation.
It's French. It needs to be, unless it's wine bottles. I'm not even going to. National education is unfortunately only numbers, and so now with this surge in numbers, we are good.
Kind of reminds me of the story about the guy that had all those sheep. Do you
think they just poached them?
Yeah.
They were obviously smart enough to get into his garden.
Yeah, smart enough.
They might be able to do some simple A levels.
Test kids and getting into schools in France. Can you get into a man's garden? Meanwhile, in Bizarro World, school kids fed teachers urine and semen pancakes. Wow. During a cooking competition at a school in Ohio, staff members were duped into eating pancakes made with holy man batter and pea. Introduced to the pancakes by the students themselves. As soon as the school's administration became aware of the situation, they contacted the police, and this is now being treated as assault, with an investigation being conducted.
Yeah,
That is grotesque.
Didn't this happen? Something similar. This happened on like a Netflix series. Aaron is going, oh no, it's called bleh.
The American Van?
Yes, that's the one where all the kids got poisoned with laxatives and stuff. It's that level of absurd.
But it's so weird because it's like, that's the TV show and this is real
Yes!
life.
Yeah.
This isn't a South Park
And
episode.
worse!
I know, it's worse than the show.
Now, okay, before you go snickering about this god-awful thing, let's look to the article. Something we took from Unilad, so... There's that, which obfuscates the circumstances to how this even happened or how anyone else knows it happened. There's even a quote from the WBNS news report saying, "We don't know if urine or semen was ever placed in anyone's food. I don't know how the school would know that," making this a bit of a non-story.
Yeah. But still, I mean...
It's a thing to make up.
It's one of those things that, there's got to be a reason.
So what happened? Like it was all. Everyone had a great time. It was a food competition. Everyone was just like enjoying themselves. And then some kid, but some kid went up to one of the administrators and said, "I think someone's come in one of the pancakes," and they went, "Oh."
Yeah, cool, please. Like,
I suppose if someone said that, you wouldn't take the chance, would you?
I mean, I don't know how they would know. Like, that's true.
They're investigating. They're doing tests on what was left of the pancake.
Yeah. From the absurd to the graphically dystopian.
Mm-hmm.
A man in Dunedin, Florida, is having his home foreclosed because he let his grass grow too long.
Yeah. So first he was fined $30,000 for code violations, $500 a day across the whole summer. This is kind of like the fire code in The Sims, where if you buy too much stuff, the game sets fire to random objects. Except instead of fire, it's money, and instead of Sims, it is real f***ing human beings.
Yeah.
But it's okay though, because this man named Jim Ficken is kind of awesome. So, to combat all of these fines and do away with this foreclosure, Ficken decided he was going to file a lawsuit against the city and members of its code enforcement board for a whopping $1 in damages, fees and injunctions. The quote from the Tampa Bay Times actually said that Ficken held a news conference on Wednesday in front of his home at 1341 Lady Marion Lane to announce the filing of the lawsuit. The quote then adds, his lawn was trimmed.
It's delightful.
Which I love.
The mayor, Julie Ward-Bajowski, says that the fines and foreclosures were in response to complaints made by neighbours, as if that makes this whole farce perfectly fine. Dunedin apparently has a history of excessive fines without considering a homeowner's ability to pay, and in this particular case, didn't even tell Ficken he was being fined $500 Ficken a day.
Ficken hell.
I know.
Yeah, now, we were just talking about poorly timed deaths. Well, here's some more. With regards to how this lawn got so tall, Mr. Ficken had been away from home for weeks on end looking after his ailing mother in South Carolina. When she finally died, he had someone come and mow his lawn while he was away handling her estate. Except, the guy he hired to mow his lawn also died, and when Jim Ficken returned to mow the lawn himself, the lawnmower died as well.
That is absolutely insane.
That is absurd.
Basically, God did not want his lawn mowed by any means. Ficken has now got some hot legal aid helping him out pro bono on this case, saying nobody should ever lose their house for having tall grass.
Yeah, good luck to the guy.
America is the Florida of the world.
Of the world.
The whole world.
Yes.
Which me up.
Yeah.
Because it is. Like, people look at America like, I can't believe you did that. In the same way that people, America look at Florida like, guys, look at this, and we're like, we're all laughing. We're laughing at everything you do. Moving across the globe, but staying with wacky America, McDonald's in Austria will double as mini US embassies for tourists in need of help. Salute the great McDonald's. You know, they're coming
The
back.
golden arches, them golden arches.
You know.
What
was it, 50 stars, 13 stripes, and two golden arches.
in hell. The US Embassy in Vienna announced that American citizens travelling to Austria who find themselves in distress without a way to contact the US Embassy. Sorry, the image to me is an American going to Europe and going, oh my god, they don't do, like, tips? What? Oh,
Yeah,
whoa!
yeah.
Right? That's the image, sorry, that's the image in my head of
Yeah,
just
I
them
can
just,
see that,
just
yeah.
freaking out over, like, a tiny cultural distinction. They can enter any McDonald's in Austria and the staff will assist them in making contact with the US Embassy for consular services. Now, before we move on to the next paragraph, I must say, I have a big problem with extra responsibility for the same pay.
I know.
I hope these guys get a little bit, just a little extra.
Can they put that on their CV? They're like they
The
work for the
embassy employee, yeah.
That'd be great. I mean, if it's like, oh yeah, I work for McDonald's and the fucking embassy, like, good for you, child.
Yeah. 16, I work for.
Legal. Yeah. A McDonald's spokesperson said that this is a natural progression of McDonald's great fame amongst Americans, but we all know it's just because America's first language is fucking burgers. Moving back to absolute legends and away from morons, let's talk about the Florida man who valiantly fought his corner over the issue of having a bumper sticker that reads, I ass, and won.
Yeah, so this guy, Dylan Shane Webb, was stopped by a deputy for having this obscene sticker plastered on the rear window of his Chevy pickup truck.
Because of the Chevy.
The key moment of this whole exchange comes right at the beginning of the encounter.
It's words, okay? What does those words mean?
It's ass and eat.
I eat ass, okay? So some 10-year-old little kid sitting in the passenger seat of his mama's vehicle looks over and reads that I eat ass and asks his mom what it means. How's she going to explain that?
That's the parents' job, not my job.
Okay, let me see your driver's license.
So Webb had to appear in court regarding this derogatory sticker. The deputy wanted Webb to change it to I as, with one S for some reason, citing that the sticker was in violation of Florida's obscene materials law. And when Webb said, F*** you, the deputy wanted to charge him with resisting an officer. And why shouldn't this guy be able to express his love for donkeys?
Damn it!
I mean, this is wild. I mean,
yes. Except, right, when this got to court, the court ended up actually siding with Webb, as this is basically a freedom of speech issue, as you just very eloquently pointed out. And obviously in America, there's no law against celebrating anything you eat, be it donkey, burgers, whatever. Moving across the country just a little bit, a woman broke into a house in Ohio, sat on the couch, pet the family dog, washed the dishes, and then left. Real frightening stuff.
we've gone from Ohio to Florida to Florida
Pretty
to
sure
Ohio.
we've gone coast to coast in one
We've
episode.
gone coast
just
to coast. And
covering
Ohio is
the
like...
the circus act that is America right now.
I think Ohio might be coming for Florida's title of what is going on here. And they managed to track this woman down. They found her knocking on doors in the neighbourhood for whatever reason and figured she was obviously on fucking meth or something. She said she'd been up for 2 days straight before being carted off on a $10,000 bond. I'm glad we've got this utter psychopath off the streets. I don't know what I'd do if someone broke into my house and washed my dishes. They're my dishes. Staying with stories about locking up poor people because it's what they deserve, apparently. A homeless man was jailed for 20 weeks for sitting on the ground without reasonable excuse. He also got a £115 victim surcharge.
Okay, so there is sort of more to it than this. The guy had records for criminal behaviour, assaulting a court security officer and having the drug spice on him. So naturally you can imagine how worried the police would be when they found this dangerous man begging for change outside a f***ing Greg's.
I mean, this is a guy that is destroying his own life by taking this spice. I don't know if you've seen this stuff. You probably
I
smell
haven't.
it. It's that thing that smells like death when you're walking around near, like, in town.
Okay.
Those kind of people.
Yeah.
It basically just turns them into, like, vegetables.
Zombies,
They're not
yeah.
going to be getting up and, like...
But are they dangerous?
Only to themselves and their minds. They're not going to turn around and start, like, grabbing you and shit.
Yeah, I mean...
This is just another attack on homeless people.
Yeah, right. So is it really a bad thing that you were sitting outside of Greg's begging for change?
No.
No, I don't think so.
Like what? Like, I'm not going to... I probably won't have change.
Yeah.
Ultimately, but if I had some, I'd give it to him. I'd probably offer it to get him some food because that's what he needs.
Yeah, I mean, not
Round him up and
gonna
give him.
presume.
What's the point in charging the guy that doesn't have a home?
Yeah, how is he going to pay for
Yeah, it's such a fucking dystopian joke.
It's
and
a joke.
The British government.
Yes.
Let's turn things around for a minute and talk about some good news. An aide to the Pope broke police seals and barriers underground to send power to an unused state-owned building in Rome, where more than 400 homeless people were living because of an unpaid electricity bill.
This article is pretty interesting. There's a quote in it from the guy. I intervened personally last night to reattach the meters. It was a desperate gesture. There were over 400 people without electricity, with families, children, without even the possibility of operating the refrigerators.
See, that's heartwarming, that is. He seems like a top bloke.
Yeah, sure. Then he adds, apropos nothing, says, I didn't do it because I was drunk.
Excellent. I was like, I wasn't drunk.
No.
We didn't ask.
Who says you were drunk? Well, I'm just saying, I wasn't.
What a legend. And I want to do a story on another total legend this week.
Yeah.
The headline here is Teen Loses Finger at Croydon Rave but carries on dancing. And he reckons he was completely sober when this happened.
Right.
The story goes like this. These kids are all at this place waiting for the drum and bass to start, or whatever
Their kids listen to these days. Yeah.
As soon as it does, the fire alarm goes off and the kids are like, rip it off. Rip the fire alarm off the ceiling. So he reckons he can do it because he's probably an absolute unit.
Yeah.
He jumps up, grabs this thing, gets his finger caught in the case and ends up ripping it completely off.
What the hell? What kind of fire alarm is like, nope? Just clamps down on
fire. You don't,
serious?
Yeah, you lose a f***ing finger over this fire. And then the next bit here, I'm just going to read word for word because this guy's a legend and I couldn't do it justice by putting it in my own words. I looked at my hand and my little finger was gone. The bone was sticking out. It's the weirdest feeling. 1 second you're fine and your little finger is there, and the next second it's gone. It shoves reality up your backside. I was in so much pain and shock that the first thing that hit my head was the beat and the bass. The bass was hard. So I just ripped off my top, wrapped it around my finger and tied it up as tight as I could and skanked it out for half an hour. My mentality was, I've only been here for an hour. I've paid £10 for this night. I've lost my little finger. Am I seriously going to go? Now I'm going to skank until I can't skank no more. After that, my mate dragged me down to the paramedics.
He goes on a proper little journey in this quote.
Just from that,
the beginning, he's like 1 second you're fine and your little finger's there, and next second it's gone.
Yeah.
Sounds really deep somehow. And then just towards the end, this whole business about, am I seriously going to go now? I'm going to skank until I can't skank. It's like,
great.
little finger, fair trade.
It's a fucking roller coaster of a story, this one. He was obviously asked why the fuck he didn't do something about it, and he said, well, what can you do? There are fit girls around you, the bass is hard, the music is popping. I didn't want to be the sore thumb sticking out, or the sore pinky. Genius. So I was like, it, let's skank on and enjoy it. I mean, that kid said that. This kid's a fucking legend. He later found out that a bunch of stoners had found his finger and were playing catch with it. So that's just a beautiful cherry.
Just wonderful. That's a memory he will share.
The rest of his very short, likely.
Probably, yeah, he's going to get himself
tragically short.
Alright, let's stay with this concept of idiots not realising the gravity of their situation.
Yes, please.
Teen wrestled police officer after reaching for donut from car. The article we're getting this from, by the way, from the Bristol Post, specifies very, very quickly that this man was jobless. Like, it is the first thing. By the way, he has no job. And it's like, okay, well,
is that relevant?
That changes everything.
Yeah. If he had a job, I'd be like, why isn't he?
This is completely unreasonable, but he's jobless? Well, he probably deserved it. Yeah. I'm not sure why that's important, but he apparently paid £12.50 for these donuts, and despite being stopped for speeding with a broken light, he wasn't going to let the police officer stop him from enjoying one of these bad boys.
Hey, fair play. I mean, those donuts cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm not really defending him. He's not very smart.
Like, he's like, well, I'm being arrested, but also donuts.
Yeah, I love it. He's like, can I just... so the officer said, don't move, obviously, and he responded with, off. This police officer went to stop him, leading to him getting kicked in the shins a bunch of time, and this poor jobless idiot getting proper arrested, like.
Yeah. He seemed to have learnt his lesson, though, saying at the police station, this could all have been prevented by me not being a flippin' twit.
I'm sure those were his exact words.
They actually were. That's literally the quote from the article, which is... So we'd have to say for, I was a flippin' twit.
That's so weird. Like, how's he gone from, like, f*** off, I want my donuts, to just like, I can't believe I did that. This kid is insane. And these are strong words for a man who paid £12.50 for a donuts, despite not having a f***ing job.
I mean, he had a kid. There was a kid in the car, I think. That's a detail left out. I think there was a kid in the car. And
I guess just more and more...
Imagine growing up with that is like, well, that's how the world works.
Thank you, Bristol, for
donuts
providing.
Are above all.
Yeah, donuts child. Donuts above child.
A Danish politician has launched an ad campaign on, of all places, Pornhub. He reckons it's the place where people are at, so it only makes sense to throw some advertising on there to distract you from whatever it is that Pornhub hosts. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole story. That is literally the whole story. You
Yeah.
just think that's where people are at, throw the ads up.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's
not
kind of
the
like,
worst, no.
It's going to be weird when you're on there and there's like all the kind of, you know, fit women in your area.
Yeah, want to hot singles in your area, want to fuck, and then just him like vote for me.
Vote for a Danish guy.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, all right.
It's going to be distracting. I don't necessarily think it's going to work, but you know, the beauty of advertising is test and measure.
And I think the real thing to take away from this is that we will now see you on Pornhub, guys.
Yeah,
we will be putting our advertising on there.
I think if we, as soon as we get some revenue coming in, we're going to start putting Pornhub ads.
All right, so here's a good indication of how bad things have gotten. Have you ever had Lorne sausages?
As a Scotsman,
Yeah.
by heritage, I'm kind of offended that you would ask me that. But as a vegetarian, you know, I don't really care.
It's a complicated issue.
It is a complicated issue. I have had lawn sausages. Why do you ask?
So, because Aldi have released a new brand of sausages called sausages, which are basically square sausages. So lawn sausages, of course...
It's square sausage.
They're square sausages, basically.
So another name for it in Scotland would be a square sausage.
Literally just a square sausage. Yeah. So this in Scotland is a thing, and it has been a delicious thing for a good long while. Now Aldi are releasing their own, calling them sausages, which I'm sorry, but that is a better name than square sausages.
It's cleverer.
And it certainly makes more sense than Lorne sausage. I don't know what or who a Lorne is.
Oh, well, Lorne sausage, the inventor of the Lorne sausage.
Oh, of course. No, I do know this. Anyway, they look delicious, but that's just naturally caused an outrage on Twitter since they failed to credit the Lorne sausages they've obviously been ripped off of.
Now, this is cultural appropriation, right?
This is cultural appropriation in its most sincere, purest form. Yeah. This is how real harm is done. To a culture.
You may take our lives, but you'll never take our sausages.
Never take our Lord sausages.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm surprised. The outrage that I saw on Twitter and everything, I'm surprised it got to that point, because I honestly wouldn't think that any Scotsman would give enough of a shit what some supermarket was doing in the rest of the country.
You've underestimated the saltiness of Scottish people.
This is so petty. Like,
really
they've surely got bigger things to worry about.
Bigger things to fry.
Than their lawn sausages.
Sorry, Dad. Aldi advertised he's not listening. Aldi advertised the new sausages on their Twitter by saying, breakfast just became a whole lot easier. Will you be trying our sausages? To which one user responded, they're called lawn sausages, you absolute ball bags. That was the worst.
That was the best quote I could find.
It's so good. I mean, it's beautiful. Scottish Twitter is a place to go. It really is. Let's end on a high note here.
Yeah.
The highest of notes, which is one where we say F*** you to the Nazi Party. That
Wonderful.
Still exists somehow.
Yes.
So Taika Waititi, the filmmaker, is going to be playing Hitler in his new film Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
Challenging role.
I think for a Maori New Zealander, yes.
It's
I
going
imagine it's going to be quite
a bit of change of scenery.
In this film, it's about a young boy who lives with his mum, who is actually secretly hiding a Jewish girl up in the attic, and his imaginary best friend is Hitler.
Right.
And it's all about how he's kind of coming to terms with
that.
This whole thing, because he's a Nazi kid, but his mum's part of a resistance, and his imaginary friend is Hitler. Fantastic. It's going to be wild.
It does sound good.
When asked about how he modelled or got into the, it's quite a deep role.
Yeah, there's a lot of material to draw from.
Yeah, absolutely. So they asked Taika Waititi how he got into this character. He said, I didn't base him on anything I'd seen about Hitler before. I just made him a version of myself that happened to have a bad haircut and a shitty little moustache and a mediocre German accent, because he was such a fucking Taika Waititi, we love you. That is the best idea ever. And we're not getting paid for this, but I really wish we were. Jojo Rabbit is in theatres October 18.
I'm definitely having a little look at that. One last mention before we finish up today. Nigel Farage and the soy boy hero. Have you seen the video? The guy who attacks him is like, he's sorry, but
He's
mate.
such a cock.
Who chucked milkshake. Nigel, seen here being shielded from from any further milky projectiles by his boyfriend, found himself trapped on a bus a few days later by people brandishing more milkshakes.
Now, I have one thing to point out. This was in Rochester, my hometown. So I was born, so I'm very joyous at this. The funniest thing is, there's about 3 people stood off of his bus holding milkshakes. Hardly the...
And I think the quote from the article that I got this from said... it was something like his entourage or whatever suggested that they may have they might have had milkshakes, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this, no,
I'm not getting any more milkshakes."
Keep driving.
So Farage got hit with this, and he said that it was like a he argued that Remainers, which for anyone uninformed is someone that is still
wants to stay in the
European Union. It's about half the country, give or take.
I'm learning.
Have become
radicalised,
and they are extremists. This coming from a man whose right-wing politics potentially are one of the reasons why a MP was killed in this country.
Yes.
His ideology, the propaganda he used in the EU referendum was violent, disgusting, hateful, and frankly, one milkshake isn't going to hurt you, mate.
Nah.
But if maybe 1 million milkshakes might, and all I'm saying is the revolution will be passionate.
Barrage the Farage.
Thanks, Aaron, for that one.
We're not endorsing any violence.
We are not endorsing any violence.
Absolutely not.
It
was just a clever thing to say. Yes.
Yeah, I was just trying to be funny.
Yeah, we're trying to be funny. That's literally.
But seriously, fuck.
But also fuck the guy.
Yeah, Nigel. I think that's everything this week. Like, basically. Comment, subscribe, as always.
We had to rush a little bit last week. We, as we showed, we had a bit of a technical issue.
Yeah.
These things happen, and also we have full-time jobs, and it's a bit of a hell. Yeah. We'll get these out as often as we can. Because
we're looking at every 2 weeks.
We'll figure something out. In the meantime, though, you do have access to our new Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
That is up. You'll see little bits from us. There'll be behind-the-scenes stuff, little animations that we're working on that Alfie has worked so very hard on. These little skits that he's putting together, which we're very proud of.
Like an idiot with crayons. We are working on a Patreon.
Yes, that will happen. So I know you cannot wait to give us your money. And I'm just saying, just give it a minute.
So Don, Alfie, please, where do I send my hard-earned cash for you lazy f***ers that just want to sit around and make podcasts all the time?
Yeah.
We'll let you know very soon.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
And that is just about everything. That's the last 2 weeks wrapped up good enough. We'll probably see you maybe next week, maybe the week after.
That cheery note.
That's everything.
Good night.
We'll see you guys next week or the week after.
Bye.
Bye-bye.